Wavelength.
Just because we're doing our lectures online doesn't mean that we need to then retreat and make life, all about being alone.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide.
I think there's not enough knowledge around the severity of the long-term impacts that a concussion can give you, and it's not really educated enough.
You should be having.
The minimum job search requirements is definitely problematic, and it is up to a computer to decide whether you receive your payments each month.
This is Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Welcome back to Wavelength. Spark the convos about Adelaide you should be having. I'm your host, Cass, and tonight I'm joined by the always gorgeous Izzy.
Stop it.
How are you going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be with you behind the microphone.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God,
I feel honoured to be hosting this week with you. Now, before we jump in, we do have to acknowledge that we are recording Wavelength on the land of the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains and pay respect to elders past and present.
We recognise and respect their cultural heritage, beliefs and relationship with the land. We acknowledge that there are continuing importance to the Kaurna people living today, and we also extend that respect to other Aboriginal language groups and other First Nations. I hope you all missed us almost as much as we missed you, but we are back, so strap yourselves in, Adelaide, and we have a jam-packed episode coming right your way.
Yes, we do. You may have seen Adelaide light up this time of year, and it can only mean one thing, that Illuminate Adelaide is back in town.
Oh, yes, Izzy. I'm really excited for that one. As well, we talked to Nat Cook, Minister of Human Services, about her new youth action plan, and later on we talk about dupe culture.
But right now, Mackenzie is speaking with Carl Jones, the CEO of Rugby Australia, about tackling restrictions in sports.
Take it away, Mackenzie.
Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Yeah, my name's Carl Jones. My role is Chief Executive of Rugby Union SA. I also sit on a national panel with Rugby Australia called the Development Panel, which is representative from each state who actually make decisions around law changes, rule changes, and advise to the Rugby Australia board.
What is the main idea of the tackle height rule, and what does its implementation hope to achieve?
So basically the rule or the law has always been head height tackles are seen as dangerous and therefore carry a sanction, be it a penalty, yellow card, red card, depending on the severity. What has been identified is the level of concussions in the world, so this is a World Rugby Initiative, are still far too high, and there's been litigation across the world against rugby and the rules and laws in various associations that have led to, I guess, not criminal, but litigation that's led to payouts in various insurances and what have you. So Lloyd's of London, who pretty much underwrite all sports insurance in the world, raised the concern, and obviously all World Rugby have raised the concern with head injury and the increased attention in that area.
Is the applied rule being monitored in any way, and if so, how is it being monitored?
Yeah, so this is a rollout of a trial. World Rugby have commissioned a trial in each country, and each country have determined what their law changes will be for that season, or it's a 2-year trial, it's a 24-month trial. New Zealand have got a different interpretation, South Africa, France, so on and so forth. So as far as the monitoring is concerned, there's a series of videos, and they're 4-angle videos of games which are going to be collated for World Rugby. And to give an example of that, at the Southern States Championships, which we hosted in Adelaide last week, we had 50% of those games actually filmed from 4 angles. People wouldn't be aware of that, and it's not something that's made for footage to share. It's purely for research purposes. And we're looking at, my understanding is 800 hours throughout the trial period to actually get a good base for understanding.
Do you think the rule is something that can be introduced into the upcoming season for higher playing levels, such as semi-professional competitions or even Super Rugby?
The problem with professional rugby is, as I mentioned, community rugby at different countries have got a trial in different variations of the rule. And obviously, when people are playing internationally, they're playing against each other. So which rule do you interpret for the professional game? So the reality for that, because they're playing at that professional level into country or into hemisphere, that the rules have to be standardised so that everybody's on a level playing field. And until the trial has seen its course and the research has been done and the outcomes have been determined, I can't imagine it's going to affect the professional game.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Thanks for that, Mackenzie and Carl Jones.
Right after the break, we're going to light up your Monday talking about Illuminate Adelaide. You're here on Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Wavelength.
Welcome back to Wavelength, sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having.
This week you talked to someone really cool, Hazy.
I did. Illuminate Adelaide comes around every year to light up the CBD, which is definitely needed in these colder months. And to find a little bit more, I spoke to Rachel Asapati, who is one of the co-founders and creative directors of Illuminate Adelaide.
Let's get into it.
Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
So Illuminate Adelaide is a relatively new major event for Adelaide in wintertime in July each year. We started in 2021 and it is a major festival of art, light, technology and music where we bring all those elements together in a massive program of free events and also ticketed events throughout the CBD. And it really is to get people out and about in winter, bring them into the public realm and show them a beautiful city and different ways to look at art.
I personally have never actually been to Illuminate Adelaide Festival before, so I was really keen to speak to you and kind of understand what can the SA community expect and what are the different locations and exhibitions on across Adelaide?
I'll start with our free program, which is called City Lights, and a great program of over 40 different installations. It's a great time to grab your family or your friends, and it's on each night from the 5th to the 21st of July from 5:30 to 10:30 at night. And it really is about different immersive installations, video mapping, projections, and it goes from Festival Plaza, Adelaide Festival Plaza, where we can start with Chrono Harp or go into the new Flinders building and see Storm there. And then you wander down Government House. We've got a fantastic projection down there, all the way down North Terrace at all the cultural institutions. There's the art gallery, the museum, the library, right down to Lot 14, which is the old RA Hospital, where we've got an incredible food and beverage hub down there too called Base Camp. You could begin your journey there or end your journey there and then head on into Rundle Street to East End there. We've got some beautiful light installations from Tilt. So that's a big free program. And then we have fantastic ticketed events. Fire Gardens in the Botanic Gardens is a fantastic company from France, company Carabos. Over huge sort of fire installations throughout the gardens. We've got Universal Kingdom at the Adelaide Zoo, which is a great night out for the family. It's called Prehistoric Nights, and it's dinosaur lanterns. We've got roving puppet and dinosaurs. We've got beautiful light installations. We've got some of the real animals, the pelicans and the goats, and the reptile house open for people to come in and explore. We've got a huge music program in Max Cooper at Harney Street Music Hall, and then we've got Unsound, which is a fantastic experimental music festival from Krakow, and Eden is fantastic. Make sure you get to Isla, which is in Light Square, and that's a beautiful work from a Berlin studio, Flora and Fauna Vision. These huge LED screens within Isla, and it's about getting in. It's immersive, interactive. You sort of plant your own garden throughout. The other one I'll mention is Superluminal for 4 to 8 year olds, which is actually Patch Theatre, our wonderful Adelaide company. That's at the SA Museum.
Are there any brand new things to see? Did you take a similar approach to previous years, or have there been some changes made for this year's program?
Every single thing every year is brand new. Never really do anything twice. All the brand new foot installations in City Lights, there's all the zoos new, the fire gardens new. It's about collaborating. We're really proud of our local, national and international artists that we bring. So every year you come, you'll see something new, everything pretty much new. And that's what Lee and I, my co-founder, wanted to do. We wanted to create a sense of wonder and excitement that each year there's brand new things to see and experience.
who are some of your favourite artists and exhibitions featured in this year's program, and what do you love most about the festival?
In City Lights, one of my favourite installations is on the facade of the Art Gallery of South Australia, and it's called Grand Mix. And they've used deep fake technology so that there's sort of inside the gallery is an exhibition called Renaissance Reimagined, and they've taken some of the portraits from that exhibition and they've put deep fake technology where they're singing local pop songs, Australian pop songs, which is pretty funny. So that's a bit of a laugh. And the Governor has kindly offered her front yard again and her facade of her Government House building. We've got a beautiful 3D projection mapping on the Government House by Philip Rocker, a Spanish artist. Chrono Harp, which is a huge big installation by a national company, Amigo in Festival Plaza. It's a huge big metal giant harp that you play strings and play along with. Fire Gardens is beautiful. It's mesmerising in the Botanic Gardens. It's a really special night out wandering around the garden. And then Eden is probably another one of my favourites at Isla in Light Square.
Illuminate Adelaide came to be during the kind of chaos and uncertainty that was COVID-19, I believe, and both yourself and Lee Cumberledge, who you mentioned before, you guys faced many challenges and hurdles during this time to get the event up and running and to have a successful campaign. Now it's 4 years on. I believe it's the 4th year that you guys have been running the event.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, 4th year.
What are you both most proud of, and what advice would you give to aspiring creative and event organisers?
It was a tough start, we'll be honest. We thought when we started the gig and it got it up and on that COVID would have been past. We had our second lockdown during that time that Adelaide had, but we got through it and we're really proud of that. I would just say follow your dreams, follow your heart. Anything's possible. If you love it, other people around you, and you get them on board, it's sort of taking people on the journey and really explaining your vision, I suppose. And also, we couldn't do it without our team. We've got an incredible team that really helped Lee and I facilitate and put on this event. Our partners, our cultural partners, our program partners, our sponsors, they say a village helps, doesn't it? So it's really, getting everyone involved and backing your vision. Check out the program. Make sure you go onto illuminateadelaide.com on our website. Really explore the program and get in amongst it and get out this winter. And it's great for businesses as well. This is a quiet time in the CBD, and we really like that Illuminate Adelaide supports those businesses. So come in, enjoy yourself with your family or friends, and get out and about this winter.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Wow, thanks so much for that, Izzy and Rachel Asapati. If you're looking to do something fun in Adelaide and explore our gorgeous city, why not go see the amazing exhibitions that Illuminate Adelaide has to offer?
Yes, definitely. Definitely take the time to do it because, as I said in my interview, I had never been to the festival before or didn't really know much about it. So it was really interesting to get to speak to Rachel and kind of understand what was actually on, where the locations were and what everything was all about. And ironically, after my interview, I did then go to base camp, which is in front of lot 14. I got some loaded fries with a friend of mine, and then we can't go wrong. And then we did walk along North Terrace and we got to see all the city lights. And I definitely want to check out the fire gardens in the Botanic Gardens next.
Yes. I've only ever heard good things about those, I will say. And I will say on Rundle Street, which is where our studios are, we are so lucky because there are so many lights just in Rundle Street alone. I know. Just going and grabbing my lunch, I get to see these beautiful exhibitions. It's fantastic.
Our text line is open Adelaide on 0428 927 927. So let us know what you think of the episode so far.
Wavelength.
You're here on Wavelength. Just before the break, we spoke with Rachel Asapati about Illuminate Adelaide. If you missed it, check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, or anywhere you get your podcast. Right now, Alicia is speaking with Nat Cook about the new Youth Action Plan.
Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Can you provide us with an overview of the new Youth Action Plan? What are the primary goals and objectives?
The Youth Action Plan will broadly target the strategy for government for the next 3 to 4 years, and it has been created following consultation with heaps of young people to identify the priority actions that they want government to look at over a period of time in order to, set things up for young people for their community. I think we know that if you don't consult adult heavily, you end up going off on a tangent that's probably not relevant to young people. So we've really made a keen effort to target conversations with as many young people as we can over the last 6 to 12 months. We've identified a bunch of targets that young people want us to focus on, and that includes their physical, social and emotional well-being. So through that, we see an ask for greater access to mental health supports and services. Other young people have really heavily focused on their want to be able to connect to services and get information to help them navigate their way through their teenage years and into early adulthood. So, life skills and how to adult. And other young people have really sort of expressed, obviously, they're concerned about housing and rental accommodation. So all of that is about, for us, listening, how do we provide service, how do we provide information pathways, and how do we make it so that young people can easily navigate their way through that type of information.
What are the long-term goals of this plan? How does it envision the future for young people in South Australia?
Yeah, so I think it fits really well with other frameworks that we've got in place for children and young people. So it does through those areas around information, mental health and wellbeing, accessing programs and services, how people can better access housing and rental accommodation. It covers on all those areas, but it also is a really good one to give us a bit of a more impetus to ensure that young people are involved actively in decision making as well.
And how does this plan differ from previous action plans?
Well, I think young people come up with, sadly similar themes, and so I think they've, often these sort of plans might miss the mark a little bit, but previous plans, their priorities were still in that area of preparing for work and for life, how where young people wanted to be better supported to reach their own potential, ensuring people are safe, healthy and resilient, and also ensuring that young people are engaged and can influence those decisions. So I think they are very, very similar themes, but I think one of the main things that we're trying to do, and we've already demonstrated that, is to act really quickly. So we already released a funding round to target the provision of mental health and support services at local level as soon as we knew that was one of the key priorities by quite a length, really. So we've already had a funding round go out with dozens of programs now being delivered to help young people.
How will the government ensure that young people's voices are heard and included in the implementation and ongoing development of the plan?
Well, right at the start, we had those about 870 people that engaged in a round of consultations through different workshops and surveys and polls. So, and we know about 720 of those 870 people were already young people. So that was a really great start to identify the key themes. And then last week, we brought together what we thought was going to be 80 young people at a workshop to further unpack those ideas, and 120 young people turned up. So they've all provided us with heaps of feedback on all of the themes, including that, decision making and how to adult and all of that. So they've given us some excellent feedback already. And then also, we've got the Youth Ministerial Advisory Council, which I set up a couple of years ago. So we meet quarterly to talk about different things affecting young people. I get feedback through that, and also the disability and the LGBTIQA+ councils as well, because they both have also got young people on them. And then there's Youth Parliament going on at the moment. So that concluded Friday, and so that will provide us with some really good feedback as well regarding some of their priorities.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Thanks for that, Nat and Alicia. It's so great to hear government and ministers actually go out and speak to people who directly involve them in new laws about what they want. I think some key takeaways there, some greater access to mental health support and services, but I feel like we've been screaming at the top of our lungs for such a long time. And also how to adult lessons. And I don't know about anyone else, but when I was in high school, I definitely could have learnt how to do my taxes, how to do my tax return, especially we're just around the fin year, but also greater access to housing and rental accommodation. Been seeing that in the news basically every day. So it's really great to hear that people are listening and creating some really important pathways so that we can help future generations have greater access to rental accommodation. I just think it's fantastic. You're on Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Wavelength.
Welcome back to Wavelength, sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. You may have gone to the shops and thought, this product looks eerily familiar to another one. Well, the term duping has been coined for this, and right now Liz is taking you through it.
Wavelength Explains on Fresh 92.7.
Have you ever wanted to buy something that was just out of your budget? Due to economic pressures, duplicate products in the beauty industry are growing in popularity. So, what is a dupe? The word dupe is short for duplicate, but not to be confused with a counterfeit, which negatively deceives a consumer. Instead, a dupe is a product that impersonates another product on the market without violating intellectual property rights. The culture of duping items has become a significant trend on TikTok, with over 240,000 users using the hashtag. The younger generation is more eager for luxury items and is realizing the financial benefits of purchasing dupes instead. But why are dupes so popular? Amidst the rising cost of living, a recent Australian Marketing Institute survey found that 87% of Australians believe that both products and services are overpriced. In response, 49% of those surveyed are exercising their purchasing power by choosing the dupe version of a product which still offers its functionality and a high-end look. But it's not all good. Companies that create dupes of smaller brands cause harm to the brand's finances and reputation, which can in turn affect innovation and creativity in the industry. Many small businesses lack the legal funds to defend their products, and the legal rules are often not black and white. Dr. Sarah Hook, a copyright and trademark specialist, explained in an interview with the ABC that competitors can make slight changes that allow them to copy the general concept. This is due to the inability to establish a monopoly on products that are relatively all the same. For instance, copyrighting a nail polish colour and restricting its purchase to one brand would be unfair to consumers. So, what about the future? With demand of dupe products at an all-time high, it's hard to say where the dupe culture will end. However, it will become a constant battle between imitation and inspiration. Therefore, as a consumer, it is essential to research whether supporting innovation, ethics, or even quality is important to you next time you're shopping in the beauty aisle.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
Let us know, Adelaide, if you are for the dupes or against duping. It is such a line between duping and copywriting products. I'm all for getting a bargain, but there is a bit of an ethical line, hey. Text in at 0428 927 927. Do you care if a product is dupe? Are you someone who's willing to spend a little bit more on original product, or are you a bargain hunter like me? You have Wavelength all the way till 7 p.m. You're on Fresh 92.7.
Wavelength.
You're on Wavelength for your Monday night. I'm Cass, and right now it's time for my favourite part of the episode. It's heaps good news. What's going on, Trevor?
I know there's gonna be
heaps good news on Wavelength.
Illuminate Adelaide is once again here for its 4th year in a row. With possible rain scheduled, here are tips to stay dry while maximising your experience. Illuminate offers an incredible indoor experience, such as Eden, an indoor immersive experience which offers a warm, dry, unforgettable experience with fun artistry and visuals. It is located at the Light Room at ILA. Raincoats and umbrellas may come in handy when entering Illuminate's base camp, located on Lot 14. It offers some warm food and beverages as well as fire pits to beat the cold with the family. Last month in June, the government told that in over a 4-year span, they'll be providing overall an additional $1 million to the RSPCA. The funds will be to enforce animal cruelty welfare laws and will as well be as cracking down on animal cruelty in the state. The Malinowskis government is also looking to enforce some of the strongest laws and probably consequences to prevent animal cruelty in SA. The proposal is hopefully able to ensure more security and safety for our loved furry friends. Later this month, the 2024 Paris Olympics commences, with Adelaide showcasing some extraordinary athletes. Adelaide's own Callum Peters will be showcasing his boxing skills halfway across the globe at only 21 years old. Other South Australian athletes on their way to Paris include Lucy Sharman for field hockey and Matt Temple for swimming. Many more talented South Australians and Australians to see taking part in the official 2024 Paris Olympics, starting from the 26th of July to the 11th of August 2024. The now reopened Aquatic Centre opens with a splash at Theberton, with it being newly refurbished with an $8 million renovation. The facilities are now reopened.
Sparking the convos about Adelaide you should be having. Wavelength on Fresh 92.7.
That brings us to the end of the show tonight. Thank you so much for listening.
Wavelength.